Hi everybody, it's MJ from My Paper Journey, and I hope you're all been doing well. And since my last video, I haven't had a lot of time to craft. What I'm sharing today is something that I completed last week, and I've been wanting to share with you guys, but I've been busy working in our backyard, and then today we went and bought new flowers, my husband and I. So we're waiting for this, because it's kind of bright outside and kind of warm outside. So we're gonna wait another hour or so, and then we're gonna start planting our flowers. But I wanted to share my needle book. It's something I've been wanting to make for myself for a very long time. So I finally did. And so this is it, guys. So my needle book, I don't have a ruler with me because I left it in the other room. But it's about, I want to say about 4 inches, maybe 4.5. And I know it's like 9 inches um, in length, a rectangle. But this is a fabric that my aunt gave me, and it is a fabric with different a collage of different pieces of all these that you see here. It's from this same strip of fabric, with the exception of this, I think. I don't know. I don't remember now. But yeah, so everything was hand stitched. I didn't use no glue. I didn't use a sewing machine. I was tempted at one point to use glue, but no, I didn't want to use any glue. So here it is. Um, and I use the black trim that Susan, hi Susan, from Australia sent me not too long ago. Like I said, I was going to use it for this, and I did. So this is the back of it, and I did some crosses, and here I did some seed stitching, and here I didn't do a very good job, but that's okay. That's what I like about slow stitching, that it doesn't have to be perfect. Not like embroidery, regular embroidery, and in crochet, that's kind of have to be pretty precise. So with this, it doesn't matter. And I did some blanket stitch here, and some just some whip stitching there, and running stitch, and some fly stitch, and I think that was pretty basic. And that's it. And then in the front, this is a flower that came in that grab bag of vintage laces and crochet trims that my aunt gave me not too long ago, and I shared that with you. But it's stark white. I was thinking about distressing it a little bit, like coffee dyeing it, but I changed my mind because it does have in the background some white. And so what I did then is I used embroidery thread, and some of the other thread in here that I use is for crewel embroidery. But then I used a single strand of black embroidery thread, and I went around it, and I did some little whip stitching here and there, just to give it a little bit of highlight and dimension. And then in the center I put all these different seed beads, and then I have some green seam binding that I bought from Etsy store. I don't remember, but I made leaves for the flower. And yeah, and then what I did is, I put all my pieces together of the fabric, and I placed it on a base fabric. It was just plain white. And then I based it. I based a stitch, this when you make these big stitches, just to tack it down. And then I did the hand sewing around it, um, on each piece here. And that's what I did. And I'll show you the inside of my needle book. And here, originally this was for my thimble. And this is my thimble. And, but I'll show you the reason why so then I made a pocket here for the thimble instead. And I just decided to then use these two strips here to put the clip pins. I think it's what they're called. Instead of regular pins, they're clip. And I do have quite a few of these and that my sister gave me. My sister Frankie, one time that I went to visit, she had a whole slew of them, so she gave me and my aunt quite a few of these. And then the trim that I use here, the white trim around, is the same trim that Susan gave me. And this is just contrasting fabric that I had. I think I bought that fabric, you know, those quarter flats that you buy at Joann's. So that's what I used. And the felt that I use for the inside for my needle to hold my needles is actually merino wool that I have. I bought that from an Etsy store. I'll put the link in the description if I find it. So I got 2 pieces of the pink wool there, and then I just did a tiny running stitch around it to attach the trim, and then after that I sewed it onto the first layer of wool. And these are regular sewing needles. They're not the same because these are pretty sharp. These are sewing needles. And in here I did the same thing, but these are embroidery needles. And they're pretty much the same, except that embroidery needles, they're kind of a little sharp, but not really. They're a little blunt. And regular sewing needles, they are sharp. So that's the difference between those two. And then here I did another wool. And these are wool. Felted wool is what you need in order for your to hold your needles. You don't want to use, well, you can, but it's kind of holey and they don't really hold well. The craft felt squares that you buy like at Joann's or Michael's or Hobby Lobby or Walmart, if it's not wool, felted wool, they're not going to hold your needle that well. You put your needle on and eventually they're going to slip right out. And felted wool, what it is, they I guess they put it like in the, when you put a wool jacket in the dryer and it shrinks the fibers, and then you can't wear that jacket anymore because it shrunk. Well, that's kind of basically the same way the felted wool works. So it becomes more dense, and the fibers. And here I just did a running stitch, and then the inner square here, it's just a tad smaller than the outside. Maybe like 1/8 of an inch around or so. And then this is a button that I crocheted, and I just happened to find it in with my all my other embroidery notions and sewing and stuff. And I said, oh, it has a perfect green that it matched. So I just attached it. I didn't sew it on. I just put a pin in the back. And then this idea on crocheting on buttons, I got the idea from Carol from Oak House Journal. I think that's her name of her YouTube channel. And if I find her video, I'll put the link below if you're interested in learning how she did these. So I did them a little bit different than she did, but basically the same thing. And here I put some safety pins, and then I did just a vertical, but this is just one layer. For my needles I did 2 layers because I wanted to make sure that they stay put, So I got safety pins there. And then the back, I had a piece of scrap of felt of the pink, the mauve color, mauve pink felt. So what I did is I just made a, a little heart, and then I made a slightly bigger heart here, and that holds my needle threader. So that goes in there, and I just put a tiny safety pin there. And this is just because, you know, like you want to put it real quick, like it, just put your needle down when you're sewing or pin or whatever, because I tend to do that a lot. And then here I made a tiny little pin cushion for your pins and stuff. And here I made another little pocket, and then that holds my measuring tape reel. This is pretty vintage. This is over 30 years old. So I think over after 25 years becomes vintage or something like that. I'm not sure. But yeah, and it still works. But see, in the back is a different shade of yellow. And here, I don't know if you can tell, here's lighter yellow and this is darker yellow. And I don't think it was the dark yellow. It was this light yellow. But I guess in time, it's turning dark. But it's, if you can, I don't know if the camera is picking it up, but you see this is a little bit lighter yellow, and here's it's darker. So yeah. And here I made two pockets, one bigger than the other one. This is meant for me to hold my seam ripper, but I don't know where I put it at. So I just stuck my my tweezers as well there, but it'll fit in there. I think it's big enough to hold both of them. And here, this is my embroidery scissors. And I couldn't find my snaps to, so what I did, I put a safety pin. I'll show you what I did to get my scissors out. Then you just kind of pull that out, and then your scissors. And then on the top, I sewed it. I sew the top to that, and then this one, it just slides in. Well, like that. And then you just close your safety pin. And then you can use your the scissors. So put it back on there. And you close the safety. So if you don't have any snaps, use the safety pin. That's what I did. You know, you make do with what you have. And that's it. So then this closes like that. This comes over, and then this is over, and then I just close this up. And I'll tell you a story when I was, and then you make the bow, and you close. Well, it's not the most perfect bow, but you get the gist of it. Oh, that's going to bother me. Okay. Just take your time, MJ, and do your bow. When I took, it was crazy, really. I don't even know how I did it, but not this Friday, past Friday, but the Friday before, we went to San Diego, and yeah, I was actually doing this beadwork, and it was very challenging. But I did it. I needed something to do while sitting in the car for 3 hours or so. So, and I did some of the stitching. So yeah, that's it, guys. So this is my needle book, something I've been wanting to do for a long time for myself. So I finally did, and I had so much fun making it that I'm going to make more. And I told my aunt I was going to make her one, and so I'm going to do that. And yeah, I think I need to make I'm going to make myself another needle book, but just more simple, not, you know, not like this, for my beading needles, and then make one that's taller for my tatting needles, and maybe the other one for my needle punch, to hold my needle punch and all my other needles. So yeah, I'm gonna have several of these needle books. Well, I hope you guys like my needle book, guys. My very first needle book ever. And yeah, try it. You know, I think the hardest thing for me was getting started. So yeah, get started, guys. And believe me, it's fun. And it doesn't have to be perfect. This is not no way near perfect. And I think that's what attracted me to the hand stitching or slow stitching. Slow stitching is basically hand stitching. I don't know why they call it slow stitching. My husband like made a joke, slow stitching. He goes, is it like for people that are not that knowledgeable, not that smart in sewing, or what, that they call it slow stitching? And he was just making fun of it. But yeah, that was my husband making fun of that terminology. But anyways, okay, guys, I'll let you go. You guys have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next time. I'm gonna be MIA for a while because I'm still working in the backyard and doing some other stuff. And yeah, so I'll see you next time. Have a great weekend, everybody. God bless, and take care. Bye.